Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this very special dedication here on the town green in Northampton. We're here today for a special dedication to General Lafayette, but this is also, I think, a great celebration of somebody here in town who went above and beyond. Roby, who is now, he can't be with us today because he's off at school. He had a project to do in school, and I bet all of us can relate. We probably would have done the project, handed the paper in, gotten our grade, and moved on. But that wasn't enough for Noah. He went way above and beyond and continued to do research. He continued to dig. He continued to look for help and assistance. And because of all of his work, we're here today for this very special dedication, which we'll get into a little bit more. But I think just that general, do more, find help, and do something for your community is what we really should celebrate today. And I see Noah over there, at least in picture, and he'll be up here in a little bit. So that's very special. So I'd like to read this from Noah Roby. Says that I'm speaking on behalf of Noah because he is at school. Good morning and welcome to the official unveiling of our Lafayette Trail historical marker. There he is. Though I am saddened that I cannot attend and deliver this address myself, I am immensely grateful that such an event exists in the first place. This morning marks an exciting moment for our town celebrating our local history. To be sure, it is because of the dedication and goodwill of the Historical Society, the Heritage Commission, Select Board, John Hubbard of the Public Works Department, Julian Eicher of the Lafayette Trail Incorporated, and our town administrator, Michael Tully, that we are here today. And I'll add, because the weather is bad, thank you to the Northampton Police Department for supplying the tent. And also thank you to Channel 22 for putting this on air and their entire production staff. Though I thought I'd take a moment to go all the way back to the very beginning of this project. And it begins, like most great things do, with a forgotten till the last minute homework assignment. That surprises me about Noah. In the fall of 2021, my senior year, I took Hamilton musical and history, taught by my brilliant teacher and friend, Brad Fletcher. We went through the entire Broadway musical, learning the history behind the show, but also discussing its inaccuracies and complex relationship with race. The class culminated in either a project or a paper on the topic of your choice, and for homework, we had to come up with an idea and a plan, and I forgot. So there I was, anxiously seated, vigorously trying to come up with an idea before we went around the table to share. Miraculously, Marquis de Lafayette came to mind, and with it, a memory from a passage from Helen Hobbs' The Way It Was in Northampton, recounting a visit by Lafayette himself on his farewell tour of the United States. What can I say? The mind works in mysterious ways. So I decided to go for it. Little did I know how rich this investigation would turn out to be. I began researching the tour itself, during which he visited all 24 states from 1824 to 1825. However, I focused on just 2 of those 24 states, and just 2 towns, South Berwick, Maine, where my old high school is located, and Northampton, New Hampshire. On researching Northampton, I employed the help of my grandmother, Jane Roby. Where's Jane? There she is. Long story short, Lafayette did indeed pass through Northampton, and he wrote a letter to the town after he had completed his tour a year later. This letter is mentioned in the records for an 1825 Northampton town meeting. I found this conclusion and my research to be sufficient for my end-of-term paper. My teacher enjoyed it and told me that he found a nonprofit online trying to mark Lafayette's entire farewell tour. Funnily enough, I had stumbled upon it as well. Why not email this organization and attach my paper? I did, and it was Julian who responded. In order to get a marker for Northampton, he said, we need another primary source. Julian forwarded a newspaper clipping from a Boston publication explaining Lafayette stopped at Levitt's Tavern. Any information on Levitt's Tavern? Yes, but where? How do we prove the location if a tavern does not stand today? Our next task, which served as the bulk of our work, time, energy, and at points, hopelessness, was to create a chain of title tracking the land on which Levitt's Tavern stood. After months of poring over wills and deeds and researching dead ends, we finally completed it, thus proving that the Levitt Tavern, at which Lafayette briefly stopped, used to stand where 100 Post Road Jonathan French House stands today, right over there. I read that. Now, with enough primary source evidence, I compiled the research, Julian compiled the proposal, and we delivered it to the Select Board, unanimously approved, and here we are today. It is my great hope that this story does not remain unique. With the incredible Historical Society and Heritage Commission, our town administrators, Select Board, Public Works Department, an organization like Julian's, researching, planning, and realizing a project is possible. I especially encourage you all to connect with our Historical Society or Heritage Commission to get involved in historical research and the wonderful programs they run. Most certainly, history, as we have seen here in this case, is not unambiguous, nor is it complete. But though critical thinking and the study of primary sources, through critical thinking and the study of primary sources, we may begin to illuminate the lives we did not live. Again, that's from Noah Roby. With that, folks, where'd he go? He left. With that, folks, I would like to turn this over to Julian Eicher, who is the president and founder of the Lafayette Trail. Julian, welcome.
Hi, everybody. This is fabulous. It's really wonderful. I'm very happy to be with you all today as well. I can certainly also vouch for how great it was to work with Noah. I remember when I got an email from Noah in my mailbox also several months ago, and he was, as he pointed out in his letter, I was asking about further information about Lafayette on the seashore of New Hampshire, seacoast, and I sent him this Boston newspaper. But there was a confusion for me about that Levitt's Tavern, because we had found evidence that there was one at some point in Hampton, and then we have Northampton as well, and then they stopped operating at some point. So it was a little complicated. But being all over the country, of course, I had not a chance to see the archives myself here and the records of the Historical Society, but Noah was able to do that. And because of his work and his diligence, we were able to compile a chain of titles, as he pointed out, that allowed us to identify the spot over there. Across the street is where Lafayette stopped on his way. It was September the 1st, 1824. He was headed to Portsmouth, and he had spent the night before, August the 21st, 1824, in Newburyport, Massachusetts. So I'm here really to share my excitement being from France, to see how somebody that was not born here, Lafayette, believed in what your revolution, the American Revolution, could accomplish for mankind. It's really a powerful thing to talk about, because the American Revolution attracted all sorts of individuals from Europe who were very excited, who believed that the United States, what would become the United States, could achieve something great, something unprecedented in the history of mankind, to improve the human condition around the world. And Lafayette saw that, and he responded to that call. And I think today the reason why you are here, why I'm here, why we have so many Americans join our effort, is because Lafayette left something very unique in this country. Something that I believe has yet to wane. And the reason for that, in my opinion, there are two reasons. The first one being that he was barely older than Noah when he came here, and he had a lot of money to spend, and you're lucky that he spent it on you, on the American Revolution, because you know there were a lot of options available to him, and you know if anybody at that time, you would have advised Lafayette not to invest his money in a risky investment like the American Revolution, and yet that's exactly what he did. And that's reason number one. I think Americans today reward Lafayette for, I would say, the risks he took and the trust he put in the American Revolution. And the reason number two is that he made a tour of the United States almost 50 years later to mark the 50th anniversary of the beginning of the American Revolution. And the American Revolution is limited to the 13 colonies geographically, but the tour, really the tour, connects the ideals of the American Revolution with the entire country that existed at that time. So 24 states at the time of Lafayette's return visit in 1824. And so I'm able to go around the country to have these conversations at the community, state, and federal level. And I have to say, Americans are very responsive everywhere about Lafayette's legacy and his visit to their community. And that really is what it touches me the most, is how everywhere in the country where I go, I see the same excitement. And that to me speaks to how ubiquitous his legacy is in the United States. And we certainly try to do that and promote that legacy so that more Americans are aware of what Lafayette did. So I will speak also in a little bit about the design of the marker. I will wait until the marker has been unveiled, but I do want to acknowledge the amazing cover that we have today. I just love it. We usually use a very common cover, one color, and here we have the national colors of France, which I haven't seen on the sign like that in quite some time. It's wonderful, and actually that's not true because the design itself has the same colors, but in a different order. So why does the tour of Lafayette matter? The tour of Lafayette matters because in 1824 the country was very, very divided politically. We have a nation growing, we have division ramping, we have the New England states that are rooting for one candidate, and you have the Midwest rooting for another, etc., etc. And Lafayette's mission was really to reconcile those differences in the celebration of the American Revolution. And he played the role of cementing the Union at a time when the division was rampant. And you can have many parallels between the divisions in the United States back then and now. And I'd like to think that his legacy of national unity, of trust, this is your New Hampshire primary day today, so we talk about civics, we talk about unity. And I think today I'd like to see his legacy have the same impact of uniting Americans. And so to me, that's kind of what I see the most inspiring in his legacy, is the ability of somebody not from here to be able to unite Americans. So I hope we can all agree on that legacy of his, and certainly this marker is going to play a role in that. So I want to speak to the number of markers we have. You have now officially joined the Lafayette Trail. The Lafayette Trail now counts, as of yesterday morning, 109 markers across the entire country. I remember when we did the first one, and I say, let's see if we can do 5 of those. And now we have 109. So in fact, tonight when I go back home, I'll just add the Northampton marker to the Lafayette Trail map, and you'll be officially on all of our resources, and thousands of people will see it. I will reserve the rest of my remarks for when the marker has been unveiled. We have a letter to read from my partner, the William G. Pomeroy Foundation. This marker would not be possible without their financial support. They have agreed to support the Lafayette Trail with grants so that we can pay for those markers and donate it to towns like Northampton, New Hampshire. And I'm happy that my friend and one of my officers on the Lafayette Trail team, Dorothea Jensen, is here with me today to read the remarks from the Pomeroy Foundation. So I will turn it over to Didi at this point, and I will finish after we do the unveiling with additional remarks about the design of the marker and why we chose the design and what it means. Thank you very much.
Yeah, there. Okay. Before I read the letter from the Pomeroy Foundation, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about how I ended up here with Julian. It's all started 25 years ago when I met a woman from Northampton, Massachusetts, originally, whose great-grandmother had been kissed by Lafayette when he came through on his farewell tour. And that kiss had been passed down in the family until it reached my new friend Rita, and the first thing I did was say, "Right here, Rita," so she kissed me. But that was the first I'd ever heard of the Lafayette tour. I did not know that he had come back here 50 years after the beginning of the Revolution. So I started doing research about Lafayette and the farewell tour and discovered that not only had he come through my town, Hopkinton, New Hampshire, but he also went right by my house. So I'm an author. I've written several books about the American Revolution for young readers, for teenagers and middle graders, and I just couldn't help myself. I had to write a story about Lafayette's tour set in New Hampshire. So I wrote a book called A Bus. Bus is an old-fashioned word for kiss. A Bus from Lafayette. And then when the lockdown happened, I started finding rhyming couplets forming in my head about Lafayette, and I ended up writing a rhyming book telling everything he did for us during the Revolution. Now, I really didn't want to do it because I thought, whoever does that? But then I was inspired by Hamilton, of course, and also by The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere, the Longfellow poem. So I'm just going to recite, I hope I remember, the first 4 lines. So listen up, my children, and I'll do my best to tell how a teenaged French aristocrat served all of us so well. Without his help, we might have lost our fight for liberty, and we'd still be lowly subjects of the British monarchy. So that's the beginning of it. It's very short. It only takes 15 minutes to read the whole thing, so I'm hoping teenagers will pick it up. Anyway, so that's how I ended up getting interested in Lafayette and hooking up with the Lafayette Trail. So I'm going to read this letter from the Pomeroy Foundation, which, as Julian says, provides the funds to actually pay for these signs. And it's really an incredible investment on their part, and we're very grateful for it. So this is what the letter says. Congratulations from all of us at the William G. Pomeroy Foundation on the celebration of your new Lafayette Trail historic marker. We send you our best wishes from Syracuse, New York, as you commemorate the legacy of General Marquis de Lafayette and his visit to Northampton. At the Pomeroy Foundation, one of our main initiatives is to help people celebrate their community's history. Since 2006, when my father, Bill Pomeroy, established our very first marker program, we have awarded nearly 2,000 grants for roadside markers and plaques nationwide. We feel strongly that markers help educate the public, encourage pride of place, promote historic tourism, and preserve history. Pomeroy markers are well researched with primary sources reviewed by professional historians. We are excited that Northampton is now part of a select group of locations from across the nation who are able to tell their story with a Pomeroy Foundation-funded roadside marker. Since the beginning of 2020, the Pomeroy Foundation has been funding historic markers along the Lafayette Trail, established to commemorate Lafayette's 1824-25 U.S. farewell tour. The bicentennial of the farewell tour is only a couple of years away, and the Pomeroy Foundation has committed to fund up to 175 markers, now including one specifically recognizing the general service in the American Revolution in multiple states and Washington, D.C. As we celebrate General Lafayette's visit to Northampton and the indelible impact he left on the United States, we are reminded that the history of the farewell tour touches countless sites across the country. We commend your efforts to bring greater attention to Lafayette's impact on American history and the enduring friendship between the U.S. and France. On behalf of the Pomeroy Foundation, we extend our appreciation to the Northampton community. Julian Eicher, and the Lafayette Trail, and to all the individuals and organizations who helped obtain the marker you dedicate today. We know this Lafayette Trail marker will stand here in Northampton as a testament of Lafayette's legacy in the United States for today and generations to come. Congratulations, Darren Pomeroy, trustee. So.
All right. So at this point, I'll invite the Robys to dedicate the marker with me. I want to thank again the Historical Society. I want to thank the town. Michael, that cannot be here. Jim, thanks for your remarks, introductions. Thank you to the TV station for covering this event. And if you want, you can follow the Lafayette Trail on social media. We have thousands of followers. We post every day about where he went. This marker will be, photos of this ceremony will be posted tonight or tomorrow on our page. You can follow us on Facebook, you can follow us on Twitter, you can follow us on Instagram, and we also have a YouTube series called Follow the Frenchman. We have 16 episodes, and soon we'll have 21, 26, and it's a great way also to talk about Lafayette from a different angle. So in addition to those physical markers, we also want to have digital resources to further educate the public and talk to a variety of individuals throughout the geography of this huge country. So if you want to do the unveiling now, yes? Yeah, the three of us, that's fine. Jim, do you want to join us? Or where's... And he left.
No, I never leave.
And I also want to thank the Northampton police as well. They're right there, and they're making sure everybody's having a good time. And so I want to acknowledge that as well. Thank you. All right, let's take that away. Then we can put it on the right. All right, 1, 2, 3. Brief remarks about the design. We have a very limited amount of text, and the reason for that is that because we believe that people don't spend that much time reading a marker. We want to go straight to the most important point and ignite a spark in people reading the sign, and hopefully when they go back home or on their phone, they'll Google the Lafayette Trail or Lafayette store, and hopefully they'll find some of our resources. We do our best to flood the internet with Lafayette stuff, but there's still a small probability that they will not find us.
I forgot to do my commercial.
That's fine, I'll do it later. So 5 lines of text. Line 1 is always the same. It's always the date plus the word general. It's not that we don't like change, it's because we really believe that mentioning that Lafayette was a general as opposed to calling him Marquis is very significant. And the reason for that is that Lafayette was born in the French nobility before the French Revolution. He was a Marquis by birth. It's a birthright, it's a privilege. The French Revolution goes against those privileges by birth to embrace a more universalism of the Western Enlightenment. And Lafayette served in the American Revolution as a general. Now, he chose to do that. That was volunteering on his part. And he made very clear statements so that people would call him General Lafayette as opposed to Marquis, to reflect a lifelong commitment to the defense of universal rights. So we do our best to respect his wishes and also historical accuracy about what he stood for, and we do that on line 1 by calling him General. Then obviously every line of text is supported by primary source materials. So thanks to the work we did with Noah, we were able to mention Levitt's Tavern there because I still remember when we got this map and he mentioned French House, which is the end of the chain of title we were able to put together right over there. So these 5 lines are here. We talk also about the distance, where he was coming from, where he was going to. The credits of our partner at the bottom. The year when the marker was made, 2022, and this is the number on our series, so this is marker number 85. The text is the same on both sides, and as far as the colors go, Yes, I always say they're the colors of France and of the United States, but people come after the ceremonies and they talk to me and you should really say they're the colors of the U.S. and France. So, I think we can meet somewhere in the middle. So blue, white, and red, and it really serves to tell people that Lafayette was a hero in two revolutions. He played a significant role in both. And finally, the Lafayette Trail logo, which you will see on top of each of our markers, and that means that the marker has been thoroughly researched and that what is on the text is extremely accurate as much as the primary source allows. So that's kind of the design remarks I wanted to share. You can also consider joining the Lafayette Trail as a member. For an annual dues of $50, you can get our dedication announcements. Like we did 4 dedications in 2 days. We're going to be doing those in Virginia again. We're going to be doing those in Illinois. I hope to be back in New Hampshire actually soon. I will be going to Dover this afternoon to unveil a marker there. And you should know that up until very recently, the state of New Hampshire was #1 in the entire country about the number of markers that were approved. You have over 15 markers in New Hampshire. You should be very proud of that because compared to some of the states of the West, New Hampshire is a really, really, really small state. And I think back then people of New Hampshire, Granite Staters, really took great pride in how much they contributed in the American Revolution, and that's my take on it. I think you still have the same pride today. And that's why we've been so successful in New Hampshire. So I want to thank you all for the enthusiasm you have displayed toward me and my project. And I'm just so happy that Northampton can be part of that initiative. Thank you very much.